Hi everyone, this is my video number 14, yeah, and in this video I'll talk on programming errors. So I believe that all this while, from the beginning of the semester until now, you have run many programs, even a short program. You have encountered with many errors. When you compile, you got errors. When you divide something, you don't get the value that you're supposed to get. So all those, we call it errors. So in this video, in this talk, I will give you some of the common errors that occur when we do programming. Some are easy to find, some are pretty difficult, and I'll give you hints how to find the error in the case of it is difficult to find. Okay, so basically there are four types of error, and this is quite general. First thing is syntax error. Syntax error normally detected when we do a compilation, when we do a compile. Yeah, you compile, you write a program, then you compile, then the compiler give you error saying unmatched parentheses, for example. The variable is not defined and things like that, and you miss the semicolon. These are syntax error, and compiler will tell you where to look at and what is the missing. So easy to find. Another thing is runtime error. In this case, your program might be compiled, but sometime during the execution, some example, you divide by 0, you read the data, but that data doesn't exist, so it gives you error. And this kind of error sometimes is quite difficult to find. Yeah, a runtime error is quite difficult to find. And then logic error as well. Logic error is how you think, basically. This is logic error. How do you think when you want to solve the problem? If you think logically wrong, your program won't produce the correct result. So this kind of error, it's difficult to find, because it shows how do you think. How do you think. That's on logic error. And the other one is linker error. Link. Common linker error are specifying the wrong header file, disagreement among the function prototype, function definition, and call to that function. So this refers to the function that we will meet this a bit later, and toward the end of the semester. Now, if you go detail on each of these error, first thing, compile time error, or we call this as a syntax error, which is easy to find, and the compiler normally can tell us where to look at, what the error is, and it's pretty easy to find. So this is a common mistake that happened. Missing semicolon, we don't declare the variable, missing the parentheses. You open but you forget to close, and braces as well, and as well as that bracket. And unterminated string. A string is a word. There's a string. Then left hand side of assignment statement does not contain a value. Left hand side of the assignment does not contain a value, using the wrong operands, too few argument when calling a function. This last one is referring to a function when we deal with a function. in the function we have argument. We can call that function into the main program, and how to call it is depend on is if the function have, for example, 4 argument, then in the main program we should have four what we call argument as well. So the compiler can also display warning. So a warning is not a syntax error, however it may kind of a logical error in the program. Yeah, sometimes it's okay. Maybe it's give you a warning, but the program work nicely and give you correct result. So in that case, you don't have to worry. But in some other cases, when we cannot find what the error is, then we might look into the warning, what the warning is. So maybe something that can trigger us to look where the error is. Yeah. So this is the some of example on the compile time error or syntax error. For example, in this case, the user had missed out the semicolon in this program. So in this case, we forgot the semicolon. So you know this error because I believe you have done you have compiled many programs. So this is the when you compile those programs, it should look like this. We have one error, and what the error is saying here is missing that. So and as well give line number. Actually, I think you give a line error, line number. Where is it? It should give line number where to look at. Okay, and then second example, in this case, we miss the semicolon here again. Miss the semicolon. All right. Okay. So in example number 3, again you miss the in this case you miss the bracket here. Yeah. So if you compile, so the compiler will tell you what the error is. The syntax error is missing the bracket. Okay. This is you miss the you open with that, but you forgot to close. This also give you error. This is when you compile. So it's written here 2 errors, but basically if you put that one, so your program should run should give a correct result. Yeah, actually just one error. This is another problem. I think this is okay, but here you forget the what we call this, the inverted comma. Yeah. Okay, and another example. So error statement on line 6. So what is the error? What is the error? Can you find the error? Can you spot the error? In this case, here, the summation should be on the left side. So this is the error, syntax error. Yeah, syntax error. So as a variable, you cannot do it like that because we assign to the operation into some variable. So in this case, sum is a variable that the value obtained by adding these two values x and y. Okay, so that's the syntax error. Another one is runtime error. Yeah, runtime error. So runtime error normally is pretty hard to find. Not runtime error is pretty hard to find, and it occurs when a program is executed. You run, when compile, it give you no error, but when you run, when you compile, you remember that in order to have your result, you write the program. In order to have the result, you have to compile first to see the error, and then you need to run. Now during the compilation process, it gives no error, but when you run, the C will say something with the is a lot error somewhere, segmentation faults, and suddenly it just stopped like that. It just out from the running process. So that's the error, and to find those kind of error is not easy. It's not easy. Okay, I can give you a hint based on my experience what we do when we face that kind of error. Yeah, so usually result in the program aborting due to a faulty algorithm, values calculated erroneously. An aborting program creates a core dump and should be deleted. A core dump is a binary file named core that contains information about the state of program when it's aborted. Yeah. When there are runtime error in the program, the compiler will still compile the code. So there are two types of runtime error: fatal and logic. Logic error. A fatal error occurs when executable crash. For example, segmentation fault, which is a segmentation fault occurs when we try to access memory that doesn't exist in the computer. Sometimes we do calculation, the number that gives you is either too big or too small. Yeah, too big or too small. Also, when you do calculation, you use too much memory that computer cannot cope with that. It's happened. So this kind of thing, normally this kind of thing happen is not due to the computer is the size of the computer memory is small, but due to an efficient way of writing the program. Yeah. Also, the improper use of array or pointers. You haven't made the array yet. We will after this topic we will go to array, what array is and everything. So I will explain that what array is all. Okay, so this is normally what runtime errors. Division by zero. Yeah, division by zero. Unexpectedly. The data format error. This is when we read, when we read from file. Normally it's normally happen when we read from file. Also, you have to find this thing. Read past end of file. In the file we have end of file, which means end of data in that file, but we still ask the C to keep on reading, so that gives you error, whereas there's no more data. Also, the array subscript out of range. For example, array you have you assign array of index 5, but then you only when we call it, when we want to use it, it goes to 6 or even less. So that also gives you error. Okay, and this normally happen in Unix or Linux. In your case, it will not happen because we use PC or laptop with a not based on Linux or Unix what we call that processor. So in this example, so they divide by 0. If you look at here, this is very obvious. This is y, x divide by y, which is 0, that give you error. So compiler will tell you something like this. So when it come up like this, is we should understood that um, somewhere in the program is dividing by 0. Okay, and another example here, array index bound error. So if you look at here, we have the bound for this is array. I will explain you later what array is, but for the time I just want to give you an example what error is, because this thing comes earlier, array a little bit later. So in this case, basically if we define array like this, so we have basically we have the index begin with 0, so sum 0, sum 1, sum 2, sum 3, sum 4. Yeah, so this is for with sum with what we call that, the index of that is 5. So basically we have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It begin with 0. But if you look at when we call sum here, there are two problems here. First thing is that I begin with 1. So you can see that the sum 0 is not used. That one thing. Another one is that this 4 will do up to I equal to 5. I equal to 5. So which means you have sum 5 equal to 0. Yes, sum 5 equal to 0. This sum 5 is out of bound. Yeah, out of bound. We call it out of bound. So because here we only has 4. Look at that. We only have 4. All right. And in this case, we have 5. Yeah. This is we declare sum 5. So means we assign 5 variable. I would say for the time being you accept that 5 variable, same name but different index. Each of these, sum 0, sum 1, sum 2, sum 3, sum 4 will give you sort of different variable. I believe we use with index or subscript, so we can something like if you say xi, x1, x0, x0, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. So just 4. Okay. So all this we call this variable x. We call variable. So when we want to declare, we just declare x, but with those 5 subscripts from 0 to 4. So in this case, you have up to 5, whereas 5 is not in the declaration part. Okay. So that's on the runtime error. So when you face the problem like with the runtime error, when we compile, it doesn't give you error, but when you run, suddenly your programs aborts, stop somewhere. All right, then how to find the error? Yeah. I give you example, not really example, but I give you hints. Let's say you have a long program, a long C program. I don't know, maybe 500 line, 100 line, or even 1000 line. Where to look at the error? So in my case, let's say this is what I used to do, right? Because we don't know what error is, we don't know where the error is, what the error is, we don't know. So along the way, from the maybe not that too early, but somewhere that we have a doubt that maybe error is here. So I put something like printf, just that. Yeah. justice. N, sorry. N. Yeah. So this prints, and then we have another statement here, and then I put another print here, printf. I put say T2 and so what happened if when we run the program, this is when you compile, there's no issue of compiling because you don't have any syntax error. But when we run this program, so normally if that part has no problem here, and it comes to this statement, then your printer, your C will print T1. That no problem. Okay, so you can see in your on your screen, it's print this thing T1. So it means your program from there up to here has no problem. But when it comes to here, you should expect after print T1, it's come up T2, because we just print T2. But it's not happened that way. It stopped somewhere here, and then suddenly your program abort there, and then stop running, and then that's it. So we know that by doing this, we know that the error must be somewhere here. Yeah. So at least by now we spot where the error is. Okay, we spot where the error is. What the error is, you have two things, where and what. So at least by doing this, you know where the error is, and then to find what the error is, you need to go line by line, yeah, word by word, variable by variable, process by process. You need to check that every detail. And even if you cannot find it, you can we can limit make it the limit much smaller. Instead of you print down there, you can print somewhere here, somewhere there. After one line, then print T2. After one line, print T2, 3. So if T1, T2 come out, but T3 is not come out, so which means the error is somewhere there. So definitely in that line. So look at that line carefully. Look on the logic. You look at whatever you can do. Okay. So that's the hint how to find the runtime error. It's not easy, but we can still find it. It takes time. Sometimes, yeah, it's happened to me. Sometimes we have to remove the whole program. You know, you write a program, long program, out of 1,000-line programming, but you still cannot find the error after doing this kind of test. You still cannot. You don't know what's wrong with your programming. It's happened. Sometimes we our mind dump, cannot think at all. Just remove those things. Do it another one. Okay. And doing programming, you need to be really patient. Yeah, really patient, and you must have a commitment to it. Okay. So that's I covered two error, logic, not logic, what we call syntax error and runtime error in this video. So I think I stop here. In the next video, I will cover on the logic error, what is logic error, what is link error, and so on and so forth. So for the moments, I stop here, and then see you in the next video. Bye.